This set of videos will be on idea validation. So this is going to go over different strategies where you can validate your idea to make sure you're not building something that nobody wants. If you look at startup accelerators such as Y Combinator, they're always pushing the concept. You want to be building something that people want. And the way to do that prior to actually going out and building your product, building your MVP, is to do idea validation. So we'll cover form validation, keyword validation, payment validation, all of which can help you get a really strong signal that people are interested in your proposed solution. So let's talk about idea validation through form. This isn't going to be as good as getting a payment from a customer or a prepayment, as at that point they've had to take out their credit card, although we go over that in another video. And alternatively, you could add a payment form at the end of this form, but let's just stick with form validation, and I'll take you step by step through my very own forms that I've created through a SaaS product called Copywriting Robot, essentially an AI generator for product descriptions and a few other things. But I recently used form validation to get an idea of if customers were interested in this and what they were looking for. Let's take a look at the overall framework here. So basically it's going to be social media traffic. This can be from any platform. If you have a following or some type of following that is nice, it's going to allow you for more responses. You could use paid traffic here. You can post it in different groups or forums. I think ideally it's going to be free. It's going to save you a little bit of money there. I posted this through YouTube. I created YouTube shorts talking about the process. I just showed off the landing page. I didn't actually have a product built at that time, but I sort of described the problem. And if you don't like writing product descriptions, you should check out this AI generator, as it's going to save you time. Those were my shorts there. And in those shorts, I linked a landing page. You can use any landing page builder, or you can develop it yourself. Mine was a very basic version of this page here. Although you don't actually need one, you can also just link the form directly. And what I did on this landing page is it was just a link to the form. Now let's take a look at the form. I use a tool called GoZen. I got a lifetime deal through AppSumo. You can also use other ones such as Typeform. You could use Google Forms as well. It's really up to you there. As you can see, I've tested several different ideas here. I've had quite a few for Copywriting Robot, as I've looked just to find more information about customers. This form here as well is something I filled out for the Solo SaaS Academy, as I wanted to get an idea of what people were interested in for the course, how much they were willing to pay, and a few other things. Let's dive into the first version of Copywriting Robot here. This form had a few responses before I switched to another one, but in terms of the questions I was asking, one of the big things I wanted to know was how many product descriptions were people generating, as I wanted to decide a little bit on the pricing. Was I going to offer unlimited descriptions? Was it going to be gated by a few hundred a month, a few thousand a month? And this gave me a good idea of how much I should be charging. I also wanted to know what platform they were using. Were they using Shopify? Were they using WordPress? Was it another website? It could help me target my language there. I wanted to know how many stores they had. Did they have 1 store, 2 stores, 3 stores? That would give me a good idea of the types of merchants I was targeting. I wanted to know how many products they had. This would give me a good idea of how many descriptions they were writing. I also asked what features matter most. Maybe I was wrong here. Maybe it wasn't product descriptions. Maybe it was SEO title, ad copy, or something else. I also did ask a question on what pricing model they would prefer, as that would give me some idea of how to structure my pricing. I also asked for their email, as this gave me a way to contact them on a later basis. So when the product was released, I could let them know there. So if we now go to result, we go to responses here. Some of these gave me better insights. I noticed that 50% of them were from Shopify. I learned that most of them had under 500 products. Really, it was 0 to 100 that was the most popular. I knew that people were also looking for ad copy and SEO titles and product descriptions. So I learned a little bit that product descriptions weren't necessarily the most important thing, but I should definitely have them. And that half of them were searching for monthly subscriptions, half of them were searching for one-time purchases. So I offered both there to give them the option. I run other surveys as well. With more data, I probably should have waited to get a little more just to see what people were looking for. So I can see if I look at another one of these forms that most merchants are on Shopify. So in my language for targeting, I wanted to make sure I was including Shopify in there. If we go to the summary view, we can actually get a clearer view as well that most merchants had 1 store. Most merchants here actually had 0 to 100 products. So this gave me some insights in pricing. Most merchants would probably select 0 to 100 products. So I should make sure my pricing wasn't too low for that plan, as I figured most merchants wouldn't be wanting 5,000 or 10,000 descriptions a month. I also asked a question on how often they upload. So most people actually said weekly, with 3 of them being monthly. This did give me some insights as well, as that people aren't creating products every day. At least the merchants that were interested in this. Most stores were actually open from 0 to 1 year, so really not that long. So what I decided to do was try to cover a risk of their store closing. So my service offers a 60-day store closing guarantee. So if your store closes for whatever reason in the next 60 days, we'll give you a full refund. As with things such as Shopify stores, people tend to open and close them quite frequently. Lastly, I also asked where I heard from them, as that gave me a better idea on where my ad spend, as I was starting to spend a little bit on things such as Google search was coming from, as well as the different social media channels. So this is going to conclude the video on form validation. So generally the process is just you're going from a traffic source. I use social media traffic here to a landing page if you want to create one, and then a form for people to fill out. This is just going to give you insights on if people are interested in it. If you're sending hundreds of people to your webpage and no one is signing up for the form, people probably aren't going to be interested in that idea. Additionally, it's going to give you some good insights on maybe what you should be building at the start and the processes around it. Let's say, for example, people were creating product descriptions once a year. That is probably not going to be something you're going to pay for on a monthly basis. And for Copywriting Robot, I do offer a lifetime plan as well. As people only have around 0 to 100 products and they're creating it on a weekly, on a monthly basis for the most part. So it's not going to be something they're using every day. And so that was an important insight for me there. Hey everyone, so in this video, I'm going to talk about keyword validation. It's an idea validation technique, so you can really gauge demand on what's out there and if there is an actual audience already searching for your potential SaaS product. It's a great way just to see what's out there. You can do it really quickly, and there are many free tools available. So in this video, I'm going to be using Ubersuggest. I do have a paid plan here, but it's completely free for up to 3 searches. You can also use Google AdWords as a tool too. That is completely free as well, and it's going to give you around the same estimate. I believe Ubersuggest probably pulls from the same API, so you're getting very similar data. So essentially what this technique is you just basically want to search for keywords around whatever product you're thinking of developing, and you can see if there's existing demand out there. Now your product may work or maybe a little more novel, so people might not be searching for it. But if they are, it can also give you a marketing technique here, so you could use PPC search ads, which is a great way to target that audience, especially if the pricing of your product allows for that. So in one of the videos, I did talk about an idea called a TikTok creator marketplace. So finding TikTok influencers and connecting them with brands. So I might search for some ideas here saying finding TikTok influencers. I'm just gonna leave this as English in the US for the search, and it's giving me 0 search volume there, so maybe I have to adjust the keyword. I can also go to all locations once you're in the tool. Now I've just changed my search here to say find TikTok influencers. That gives me a total volume of 390. And then I can get related influencers as well. So I can see find TikTok influencers have a total volume of 390, CPC of around $12, which is a little more expensive there. I can see a different spelling here, so 480, 260. I could also see find influencers on Instagram has a higher search volume at 1600. So maybe I could decide to switch my idea here. Maybe I could cater to both platforms. This one also seems to have a much lower paid difficulty, which is interesting. So just from the search here, I can see there are some people searching for this. So there is some demand on a monthly basis to find TikTok influencers. So this idea may have some merit here. So really that's the strategy in a nutshell there. You're basically just going to search for related keywords relating to a possible product here. This can give you a keyword list to then target for different search ads. Maybe you're targeting SEO with different content. This is great for the later stages as well. But it's also great just to see what's out there and see if there is actual demand for something. It's a lot easier to build into a market that has existing demand than rather than creating your own demand for something completely new and novel, as you're also going to have to educate a potential audience on why your product is necessary. And it's a lot easier when people are already looking for that. Let's talk about payment validation. So this is probably going to be the best way to validate your ideas. It's going to be better than form validation, though you can add a payment method to the end of the form. It's going to give you the strongest signal that customers are willing to purchase your product. As customers need to solve their problem so badly that they're willing to pay for your product, they've pulled out their credit card, they've entered in those details, and they've done what you ultimately want them to do. And so stronger than anything else, this is going to validate your idea here. And although it won't necessarily be free to refund them, they want to refund right away because they were expecting a product. This is worth it rather than spending 10 hours, 100 hours developing the product yourself. Or if you want to hire someone, that's going to cost money as well. It's worth it to validate your ideas beforehand. We go to a real life example. Buffer is a popular social media service. It's going to allow people to schedule their tweets. That is what they started out with. Initially, when they first launched, they didn't have a product ready yet. They had a landing page with pricing, basically advertising what they were going to do. And then after a customer paid, they went to a web page here and it was, hello, you called us before we're ready. We're working hard to put the finishing touches onto Buffer. Things are going well and it should be ready to help you with Twitter very soon. If you'd like to send us a reminder when we're ready, just put in your email below. So before anything was ready to be used, they went and sold the product. And this was great validation to really show there was something there. This just goes back to the concept that you should be validating and charging before you have a product. The process shouldn't be build, then sell. It should be sell, then build. As there's nothing worse than building something that nobody wants. I've definitely done this before, and it's a trap that if you're a developer, you're going to fall into. As building's the fun part, you're solving technical problems, you're building cool features, you're bringing something to life. But it's very disheartening that if you build something and no one comes and purchases it, it's going to really demotivate you. If we go back to the form validation I did for the course here, something I probably should have done is just charged for it. Had a deposit of some amount of money, maybe it was just $10 or $20, but that would have given me a really good insight. So much about purchasing sometimes is not the actual amount, but it is the act of buying something. It's why you see services such as ClickFunnels and other apps that do stacked funnels where the initial purchase is maybe $5. Maybe it's free plus shipping. It gets you in the process, and then they can upsell you on something else. The credit card information has been inputted. You've felt that dopamine rush from buying. They really just want to get you in the door. So just to conclude this video, payment validation is a great way to validate your product. It probably is the best way, as you know customers are willing to pay for it. Don't start building yet. This is going to be the premise of this video here. And don't start building yet because you can very well build something that nobody wants. You take a look at Y Combinator and all the startups they have go through the program. Their ultimate goal to get from 0 to 1 to find product market fit is to build a product that people want. That is extremely hard to do. That's why when you're starting out, selling is going to be greater than building. So you want to get methods of validation. There's keyword validation, although that one's probably a little weaker. There's form validation and there's payment validation. Payment validation being the strongest. If you can get 5-10 people to pay for your product before it's released, that's going to give you a really strong signal that people are interested in what you're building. We'll go through examples such as Buffer. Another example would be Dropbox. I believe they signed up around 80,000 customers to their demo video on Hacker News before they built the product. This gave them incredible validation that it was something that people wanted. One of the worst feelings is building something that nobody wants. Maybe you got the feature set wrong. Maybe the problem wasn't something people wanted to pay for. If you build first, then sell later, you could commit hundreds, if not thousands of hours to building something that's extremely hard to sell. And then with all that time cost put in, it's going to be really hard to move on to something else. Before you start building, make sure you start to sell so you get some validation that people are interested in what you're looking for. I know personally, I built what I thought was a really cool video called Thank You Reels. It's essentially a service for e-com and Shopify merchants to email their customers a personalized thank you email after they've ordered. It made it really easy to record and send these videos, and I thought it was a great idea. I thought I was going to charge $50 a month. I was going to get hundreds of merchants signing up. I spent a month building it, probably a few hundred hours building it. And then I was like, okay, let's go sell this. I posted it on a YouTube channel that I run for e-commerce merchants. I contacted people in Shopify and Shopify merchants, and I heard back crickets basically. Some of the complaints I heard were that it's going to take too much time to send out these emails. Can you use AI to build this? And that was pretty disheartening there, as I had spent quite a bit of time building it and I thought it was a really cool product. But it turns out I just got the basic premise wrong. It was too time consuming. Merchants were probably doing hundreds, thousands of orders. They don't want to spend the time to send all these emails. And so if I had known that going into it, I wouldn't have spent the time to build it, or I would have reframed the product, maybe to use AI to send personalized messages, maybe to focus on something else. But I just really want to hammer the point home. Sell before you build. Get validation that the idea is actually going to be somewhat successful before spending all the time building a product. Let's go over how you can get traffic to help validate your idea. So whether you're using form validation or payment validation here, what you'll really need is just a simple landing page. Overall, keep it simple here. You don't need tons of information. You mainly just want a title. So why would someone want to use your SaaS? A subtitle, so you can further explain the benefit. Also explaining that it's going to be a waitlist, and then it is free to join the waitlist here. The last thing you'll need is a call to action. This is typically just an email address where you're collecting information so you can contact them on a later basis. You can also have a form to fill out afterwards. This is great for form validation. So getting their email first and then asking them a series of questions to find out more about them. Looking for their biggest pain points, as well as what industry they're in and what position they have. This will give you a better idea of your target customer. An example here is called User Maven. All they had here was their title, their subtitle, and they're collecting email addresses. And they did have a form afterwards. They had some images here on what the product might look like, but their main benefit was instant actionable analytics to grow your SaaS business. So making it very clear here what the SaaS is addressing. So let's go to actually getting in traffic. One of the best methods to do so to get really high quality validation is to use groups and forums. So in here, you want to be helpful, build relationships, as well as be honest. So this is from user Maven as well, and it's an example of what they posted in a Facebook group. So it's that they were looking to help some companies which are having trouble setting up product analytics. At the end of the exercise, you'll be able to see a bunch of different information here, such as attributing customer acquisition by source, find slipping away users, get power users of your product or a specific feature. And they're also honest why they're providing this benefit, and that they're building their product and it's a tool specifically built for SaaS product analytics. And they have a bonus here that you'll be put on a special founders plan, and let me know if you're interested and I'll send you the details. So overall 71 comments and 33 likes, so pretty decent engagement here. And with these points, they're making sure they're looking at their target audience. So in terms of where to post, it's going to depend on your niche, as maybe you're building a Shopify app, there's different Shopify forms and groups, there's different threads. If you're building a WooCommerce app, there's specific ones for those as well. If you're going for SaaS founders, indie hackers can be a great way to find other micro SaaS founders. Hacker News can be a decent way, a little more competitive here. There's specific Reddit groups for just about everything. This also applies to Facebook groups. I'd say these will be probably your two primary methods here, as you can get quite detailed and you can find the exact audience you're looking for without having to do a ton of filtering. So again, just be honest, be helpful, and be friendly here. Some founders will opt in the route of just building a presence in these groups first. They provide a lot of value, so when they actually do go to post something, they start to have people recognizing with them and engaging with the post. In terms of paid methods, there are two that we'll go over. It's Product Hunt Ship as well as Beta List. For Product Hunt Ship, it's a toolkit for makers to ship awesome products. So you can build an audience for your product quite easily. We talked about building a landing page, and so this tool actually allows you to build beautiful landing pages that are fully customizable. They also have embeddable widgets, so you can capture interest on your website, blog, or web app if you have one already. It also has an embeddable email form, so you can capture those emails and it's going to be added to a Product Hunt database. It also allows you to do things such as talk to users to build better products through surveys, direct messaging, and group messaging. You also get analytics, A/B testing, and different webhooks. I believe this tool is around $80 a month, so if you're just using it for 1 month here, you can really find out some cool ideas. The next tool is called Beta List. It's very similar to Product Hunt, where people can post their products, and people are always going on here to discover tomorrow's startups today, and they have a pretty big newsletter, so they're sending out these products as well. So very similar to the functionality of Product Hunt overall, so it can be another alternative to utilize.